The war against young people is continuing. The old hard right, the ossified and billionaire hard right has now put not just progressive talk radio, but young people in their crosshairs. And the way that they're going after these people, I mean, I mentioned David Hogg before the break. His father's a retired FBI agent. And this guy with Gateway Pundit, Windrich, also uses an edited YouTube video of Hogg having some difficulty answering questions for a taped interview as evidence that Hogg is, quote, heavily coached on lines and is merely reciting a script. Of course, there's no evidence to support that claim. And then he writes, why would the child of an FBI agent be used as a pawn for an anti-Trump rhetoric and anti-gun legislation? Wait a minute, right-wing so-called news site. Are you saying that when a teenager, when a young person speaks out about politics, that they're being manipulated? Really? My recollection is that my generation back in the 60s and 70s and early 70s literally ended the Vietnam War, which killed about as many people, over 56,000 Americans, killed about as many people as in the United States are killed in just 2 years by guns. Maybe these kids can be the generation that ends this war on America, the NRA's war on America, the gun manufacturers' war on America, the Republicans' war on America. The article is also being promoted by, this from Think Progress, by Bradley Blakeman, a member of the George W. Bush administration, a lobbyist and frequent television pundit. He says, this kid is a shill. He's bragged about the number of interviews he's doing. It plays to the camera. Yeah, like you don't? It's amazing. And then they're going after Emma Gonzalez and Delaney Tarr and Cameron Kasky. The entire article attacks these students for smiling in the photo. The article's entitled, School Massacre Survivors and CBS Reporter Party Like Rock Stars, but there's no evidence of any partying. That's incredible. It's just incredible. How despicable. Meanwhile, you know, as I said, you know, when young people or anybody goes to speak to their Republican members of the House or Senate, they generally don't get through. These guys aren't holding town hall meetings anymore, at all. This, Tom Thunkett just tweeted this. Breaking, Senator Tom Cotton, a man who claims to represent his constituents, literally has sent a cease and desist order to his own constituents, ordering them not to call or writing him. By the way, Tom Cotton is the guy who was in the meeting where Donald Trump made the S-hole remark about African countries, and Tom Cotton went on camera and lied about it. Here's the letter on the headline, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, United States Senate. The phone number 202-225-3121. And it says, this letter is immediate notification that all communication must cease and desist immediately with all offices of U.S. Senator Tom Cotton. All other contact will be deemed harassment and will be reported to the United States Capitol Police. Right. So this is the Republican war on America, frankly, on the United States. And right now they're hysterical about the guns because Richard Burr took $6.9 million from the NRA. Roy Blunt took $4.5 million from the NRA. Tom Tillis took $4.4 million from the NRA. Cory Gardner, $3.8 million. Marco Rubio, $3.3 million. Joni Ernst, $3.1 million. Rob Portman, $3 million. Todd Young, $2.8 million. Bill Cassidy, $2.8 million. This is just from the last election cycle because all these senators were up for re-election. So you can bet your sweet patootie that right now the NRA is pouring that kind of money into the campaigns of the senators and members of the House who are up for re-election right now. For example, and these are their names and their tweets. Roy Blunt, Senator Roy Blunt, gets money from the NRA, tweets, saddened by the tragic loss of life. Virginia Congressman Barbara Comstock gets money from the NRA. I'm heartbroken by the mass murder. North Carolina Senator Richard Burr gets money from the NRA. My heart is with the people. Colorado Congressman Mike Coffman gets money from the NRA, tweets, my thoughts and prayers go out to all the victims. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley gets money from the NRA, praying for the victims and their families. Texas Congressman Will Hurd, this is all, by the way, around the Vegas shooting. Texas Congressman Will Hurd received money from the NRA I'm deeply saddened by the tragic shooting in New York Congressman John Cato gets $9 grand. He didn't tweet, apparently. Rand Paul gets money from the NRA. Tragic news this morning. Kelly and I send our prayers. Maine Congressman Bruce Blakeman gets money from the NRA. My thoughts are with all of those affected. Ohio Senator Rob Portman gets money from the NRA. Jane and I mourn the loss of innocent lives. Florida Senator Marco Rubio gets money from the NRA. I'm praying for all the victims, their families, and our first responders. New York Congressman Lee Zeldin gets money from the NRA. All Americans extend our deepest sympathies. North Dakota Senator John Hoeven gets money from the NRA. Mickey and I are praying for victims of last night's terrible shooting. Iowa Congressman Rod Bloom gets money from the NRA. Unspeakable tragic night. Virginia Congressman Bob Goodlatte gets money from the NRA. Praying for the victims. Right, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson gets money from the NRA. Heartbreaking attack. Our thoughts are with everyone affected by this heinous act, he tweets, and on it goes.